Hello, my astrology friends, and welcome to December 2024 astrological forecast. Please like the video that you're about to see and become a subscriber. It all helps to spread the word of astrology. So this video is going to look at December 2024 from an astrological perspective. And first of all, I'm going to have a look at the overview of what to expect in terms of the planets that are going to be dominating the sky this month, and also in the second half, all 12 zodiac signs from the perspective of a sun sign and your rising sign are going to look how the month plays out for you. So, should we get started? I think we shall. So what can we expect for December 2024 as an overview, a sort of global overview? Well, there's a lot kind of going on. And one of the first things is, right at the start, is what the planets that are going to be dominating the skies. Well, the first one is Mercury. Mercury is retrograde in Sagittarius, and Mercury retrograde is detriment. It's not happy. And this causes miscommunication, problems with overseas travel, or particularly from a political, economic level of dealing with other countries. The other thing is that Jupiter is opposing Mercury, which is also retrograde. So again, you've got this issue of short distance travel and long distance travel. Mercury rules short distance, Jupiter long distance. So there's a kind of a problem with transport systems in general and how people get to one place to another, whether that be a long trip or whether it be a short trip. The two signs that are dominating, of course, are Gemini and Sagittarius, and they are the movable signs. So again, movement from one country to another being an issue during December. Now, the way that Mercury plays out, because also Jupiter's retrograde as well and continues to be retrograde, is that around about the middle of the month, around about the 15th of December, Mercury will start moving direct. It will be in Sagittarius, so it's going to catch up with all the degrees that it's gone retrograde with. And that could see things get a little easier. But I have to say, for most of December, there is a problem in transport systems in general, or getting from one place to another because of that Mercury retrograde. And because it opposes Jupiter as well, yeah, it's a little bit of a problem. Also, stuff with education systems as well being a little bit of an issue for all of us, and how we learn, how we communicate learning, and to do with schools in general, but also colleges, universities, issues around that at this time. So Mercury and Jupiter, big player, even though they're both retrograde. And here's another retrograde planet that we've got to contend with, which is Mars. Now, Mars has been in really, of the last 6 weeks, it's been in tricky territory. It's been in Cancer, which is not too happy with. It has now moved into Leo, but it does go retrograde on around about the 6th or 7th, depending on which country you're coming from. And it's in Leo, and it's still opposing Pluto. I really... this is kind of an ongoing situation, because Mars retrograde is never a good indicator. And the problem with this is that it's going to go back into Cancer, which is detriment in. It's not going to do that this month, but it's going to go back into Cancer. Then in early February, it's going to move direct, and it's going to go back into Leo. And it leaves Leo in the middle of April. So we've got Mars transiting through two signs of the zodiac. One it's comfortable in, which is Leo, and one it's not comfortable in, which is Cancer. So it's the flip-flop effect. Two energies that we are trying to respond to. Now, if you think about Mars, Mars is about assertiveness. That's in the positive sense. Aggression could be the negative sense. It's about being direct. It's known as the god of war. If you're in a Mars perfected year, a little bit tricky. But Mars is about gaining strength from within when it's retrograde, not from the external, but from within. So we just got to be kind of navigating ourselves through that, and hopefully on a global issue, not making decisions that bring that aggressive attitude in others or other countries, or within people of the same country that we live amongst, because this can be very, very tricky kind of territory to go through. When it's in Leo, of course, I do feel that Mars can work relatively well. It's when it's in Cancer that's the most detrimental, which is not in December, but it becomes a bit of a player in December because suddenly we'll feel that energy. And if you think about it, we've got the start, we've got Mercury, we've got Jupiter retrograde, and we've got Mars. Venus goes into Aquarius around about the 6th or 7th of December. For me, that's like quite a nice combination. It's quite enigmatic. Venus is about how we relate to each other, how we connect with others. And Venus is in Aquarius is a little bit aloof, a little bit standoffish, very artistic, very built on the aesthetics, and likes to relate to people in a kind of different way. So it can be very good in terms of uniting people and bringing people together with a collective interest or similar themes that they feel that they can explore and communicate and exchange ideas with each other. So I'm very, very positive about that. I think that's really, really kind of nice. Saturn is also going to be moving forward. That's in Pisces. So for Pisces, this is like, oh, happiness. A lot. You Pisces are going to be really, really pleased at this. Starts to move forward. And all the work that you've done since the end of June when it started to go retrograde, you could now see the benefits of that. And certainly if you're in a Saturn profected year, then again, you're going to really kind of benefit from this. Uranus is retrograde. In Taurus, it starts off about 24 degrees. It's still recovering from that full moon on the 15th of November last month that was also conjoining with Uranus. It ends around about 23 degrees at the end of the month. So again, if you've got the sun or rising sign at around about 23, 24, 25 degrees in Taurus, then you are deeply affected, a lot of change. You just got to be very open to those changes. Don't try to dominate. Don't try to control. You'll find that this doesn't work for you. But if you can kind of go, okay, things are changing, I'm going to be open to them, then it's going to help you an awful lot. Here's another one. Neptune moves direct on the 8th. That's significant. It moves direct at 27 degrees. Again, if you've got planets at 26, 27 degrees in the mutable signs, which is Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius or Pisces, you'll be glad of this. Suddenly the fog will begin to lift. You'll be able to see things a little bit more clearly when perhaps it's been a bit muddled or a bit nebulous around you. You're able to really focus and go, do you know what? I know exactly what I want. And any things that you're not being clear about, suddenly things come to light that give you a sense of clarity and a sense of direction. So that's really, really kind of nice. Pluto, that's moving forward and it's firmly in Aquarius. And I talked about this earlier about Aquarius energy and Leo energy and the opposition between Mars and Pluto, that power struggle particularly. I've got to say this about the Leo energy and the Mars retrograde. Leo is a royal sign. And when you get a retrograde, usually royal families come under that kind of microscope, or a lot happens during that particular period of that Mars retrograde in Leo. So look out for news about the royal family. That doesn't just mean the UK, that can be in other countries as well, or things coming up to the surface to do with that needs to be dealt with. Okay, so let's just look at the moons that we have going on, because that's always important. So the first thing is that we do have a new moon on the 1st of December. That's at 9 degrees in Sagittarius. Now, this is in that conjunction with the Mercury retrograde, which is also opposite Jupiter. So it's a funny new moon. It promises a lot, doesn't really deliver. And it kind of, it's like somebody on the world stage trying to create a vision for us all, but it doesn't quite sort of fit in with the collective and what's really kind of going on. So it's a bit of a difficult one, that one. I'm kind of like, because it's in so much mutable signs, it means it could be so changeable, the vision, that it's not really that comfortable. The next moon, we've got the full moon. Now that's going to be at 23 degrees in Gemini. And that's actually squaring Neptune. And again, it's kind of got Jupiter in there as well. Again, it's very similar to the new moon right at the beginning. It's fluctuating. It's things like not being kind of clear or a clear direction for a lot of people. And if you've got a lot of mutable signs in your natal chart, you're going to be really kind of affected. You might feel a bit lost at sea and suddenly there's just too much out there, or you can't see things as clear as you would like to, or you feel that you're being bombarded by information that you cannot take in. Higher states of consciousness, the awareness to look at the big picture is going to be crucial during this time. It's going to be very muddy, and that's within the political arena as well. Very muddy and very unclear, and a little bit like a ship without a rudder, really, or a boat without a rudder, I should say. So it's time to sort of step away from that kind of high, changeable energy at that particular time, because that is really kind of tricky to sort of work through. And I think for a lot of people, it's going to be a very difficult time. The other thing to remember from an astrological point of view, we have the winter solstice on the 21st. That's when the sun enters into Capricorn. And that's a real celebration of the sun starting to ascend higher in the sky there. So it's kind of, I always like the winter solstice because it's the sun is coming back. And then on the 30th, we've got another new moon, which is at 9 degrees in Capricorn. That's a bit quieter than the first. It's in a cardinal sign. It kind of just beckons in that new year in a way, in a kind of a really kind of nice kind of energy, all about work and putting manifestations about working intentions and how you want to move forward. Okay, so that's the kind of overview. How do I see this kind of playing out? Well, I think December is a little bit it's a lot of retrograde planets, a little bit of a kind of recover from the hangover of November, but also I think there's a lot of information out there that is going to feel unsteady or not clear, and people are going to be a bit jittery because of this. It's like there's too much out there. Which direction are we going in? And, the retrogrades, particularly the Mercury, the Mars, the Jupiter, really kind of brings in a kind of a sense of confusion that's going to come in for a lot of us. But, it's about looking at different angles and taking the best bits and disregarding the bits that you don't kind of want. I think that's the best way to sort of survive this particular period here. I'm really kind of glad about the Neptune moving forward. I think that's great because that Neptune right at the end of the degrees of Pisces retrograde has been quite troublesome and brought out more confusion. And I would expect that, but now it's kind of moving forward and it kind of rockets forward and goes on the 31st of March next year. It will go into Aries. And there is a video on my channel about Neptune and Aries for all 12 zodiac signs. Check out that. But it's really kind of like, as an ending for the year, it's just a bit confusing because we're like, oh, this is great. We're coming to the end of New Year coming up. Oh, where are we all kind of going with this? It's that kind of energy, which is always difficult. Okay, now I'm going to look at the 12 signs of the zodiac for December 2024, and this is going to be for Aries sun sign and Aries rising sign. So if you got Aries rising, check out this video. If you're sun Aries, check out this video. Okay, so Aries. So the main thing is that your ruling planet Mars is retrograde. It goes retrograde about the 6th to 7th in Leo, another fire sign, which rules your 5th solar house. And, that's quite a house that is traditionally known, as William Lilly used to call it, the 17th century astrologer. He used to call it the house of merriment. And I really like that. It's the house of joy. It's where we connect with others. It's where we be creative and are self-expressive and learn about ourselves. Now, but the Mars is going retrograde, and it means that you have to conserve your energy. There is every case, Aries, that you could overdo it in December. And look, it's the Sagittarius party season, and the social activities Aries have got to sort of contain it. They've got to be less adventurous than they would normally would like. It may be that you feel less confident than you would like to feel, and that you just kind of go, well, okay, I don't really want to go to those parties, or I don't want to initiate new things. It's important to get a balance for Aries. That's really going to be a big thing. Travel, right? Okay, look, Aries, if you're traveling, particularly abroad, watch out. Jupiter's retrograde in your solar 3rd house. Mercury is retrograde until the middle of the month in your solar 9th house. These are travel houses. So, really plan well. Check before you travel, as they say, for Aries. In the movement houses, you have got retrogrades. So just be kind of aware if you're going short distance travel or long distance, you've got to be just a little bit more attentive to that there could be possible delays. But I think for Aries, the Mars retrograde does hit them, but it's not in a difficult house placement that I would kind of go, well, really watch out for this. But, you might feel that you just got to contain your energy and be a little bit more moderate in the way that you actually conduct yourself and how often you go out and stuff like that. Okay. Next is for Taurus. This is for Taurus sun and rising sign. Okay. So Taurus, a lot of what's coming up and the focus is going to be actually career for you. From the 6th, 7th, Venus goes into your 10th house. Now, Venus is diplomatic and it brings in harmony, and it's in Aquarius, so it's quite coolly objective as well. And if you've got ideas or you want to present yourself in a particular way to the public or to your bosses or superiors, then this is a period when you can do that, because of that Venus energy. Venus is the natural ruler, so you know how to charm, you know how to say the right things, you know how to make people feel good about themselves. But this is really kind of strong. It's a strong energy that's coming through here, and it's to focus on the ability of bringing people together within your working environment. It's going to be really important in December. It's a kind of a crucial month for you that's really sort of taking place. Now, in opposite to that, the Mars retrograde is deeply effective because it's going to be in your 4th house, 4th solar house, which is the house of the home, the family, the property, the ancestors, your habitual habits, where you go forth and relax, which basically means that Mars retrograde isn't meaning that you cannot relax as much as you would like over the December period, that you're very busy, that you seem to be constantly bombarded with things that you've got to do within the family or within the home environment, but that you could be working harder than you would like during this particular period. So you've got Venus in one house and then Mars in the other. They do form an opposition with each other around about the middle of the month. So it's trying to get a balance. So you could be working right up until the Christmas period significantly when you probably wouldn't want to do that. And that was not the plan. So it's a busy month for you. You've got the stuff with work, you've got the stuff in the home environment, and it's trying to get a balance between the two. So, but try and relax, Taurians. Okay. Gemini sun sign, Gemini rising sign, that ruler Mercury in your opposing sign of Sagittarius for the first half of the month to the 15th is in the 7th solar house, which is the house of relationships, partnerships, other people. So the delays are not coming through you, they're coming through other people saying, I'll be there at this time and not arriving, or other people bringing in delays and confusion. And travel arrangements from other people, can you see where I'm going with this, of causing the problems with this Mercury retrograde. Also, you've got Jupiter in the 7th house, the house of other people again. So, look, Geminis, you could sit there and go, right, I'm blaming everyone else for any of the problems that I've got for the next month. You're kind of justified in doing that. But at the same time, you've got to be able to step back from that. Other people might be bringing in delays and confusion and not being straight or direct with you, but at the same time, don't respond to it. Don't get angry. The Mars retrograde is interesting because that's in your third house. And that's why I'm saying don't get angry, because the third house is the house of communication, the way we speak, the way we communicate with others. And you might feel like saying things that you will later regret to there's other people that are bringing in so much delays and confusion and slowing things down in your life. And what do we do in December? For a lot of us, we try and connect with other people. So you've got to be very, very patient and hold your tongues, Gemini. Now, I know that's difficult for you to do, but you're going to have to do it because it's about navigating through this particular period. And if you do that, then you'll benefit from it. On the 15th, Mercury goes direct. So it kind of gives a little bit of a space for you to kind of be with other people, but not get too angry or then cause too many misunderstandings. But however, take a step back. Don't respond too quickly. It won't do you any good. Okay, Cancer. It's interesting for Cancer because the full moon and new moons, at least one of the new moons, because we got 2 new moons this December, are primarily in the 12th and the 6th houses, which are to do with service to others, the 6th house, and the 12th house is to do with connecting with something that's bigger than you, that transcends beyond the ordinary, and being at service to yourself, or the self-care aspect. So I think for a lot of Cancerians, it's going to be about looking after oneself a little bit more, but while being at service to others. Look, that's a balance in itself, isn't it? It really is. But it can be achieved with Cancerian energy. You know, on the 30th, you've got the new moon in Capricorn, which is in your opposing zodiac sign, which is in your 7th solar house. So relationships, partnerships, things becoming with other people, becoming a little bit more clear, or new starts or a new cycle beginning for you. And that's great for the new year, isn't it? That's a really nice one to have. The Mars retrograde is interesting because, you know, listen, it's in your 2nd house, which is your financial house. So you've got a period where the finances, you've got to be looking at reserves of energy, how your savings particularly, you know, your backup plan, your survival with your finances. It's not about going forth and conquering and getting more money. It's about what you do with your money during this particular period with the Mars retrograde. And remember, you know, Mars has just recently come out of Cancer, your own zodiac sign. It's going to go back in early next year. You know, and then it's going to go back into Leo, and it's going to be in Leo till April. So the finances, what you do with your money, is going to be really an important theme that's going to come across till April, really. So as it goes into Cancer early next year, it will remind you, as it has done in late October and November, about how you make your money. And then it goes into the 2nd house, which is, oh, I made my money. What do I do with it? Lots going on there. And I think for Cancerians, to get the best out of this December is to be attentive to the needs of others, to the needs of yourself, and also your relationship with the money that you earn. Okay, Leos. Right, big month for you, Leos. Of course, the main thing is that you've got a Mars retrograde in your own zodiac sign, and this is going to be from the 6th to 7th, and Mars is going to be sort of in and out between Cancer and Leo till April next year. It moves direct in February, early February, but it's in the previous sign to you, which is Cancer. It's also opposing Pluto. Let's not get into battles that we do not need to get into. Really kind of important. Let's just not do that. Venus, though, from about the 6th or 7th, goes into your opposing zodiac sign. It opposes the Mars retrograde. It conjoins with Pluto. You've got a busy, busy December ahead of you. You might be invited to loads of parties and dealing with lots of people and being really kind of busy and working hard. But, you know, that Venus energy is kind of nice, though, and it's electrifying because it's opposing Pluto and it's opposing Mars. And for a lot of Leos, they're going to feel like they've got a real boost of energy all of a sudden, you know. And I think Leo's the zodiac sign for the last couple of years has been relatively quiet, really, you know. But suddenly in my clients, I'm getting a lot of Leo sun, a lot of Leo rising or Leo moons coming to me and expressing about how they feel, particularly with the Pluto and feeling this energy shift. And it's giving them a real kind of boost of that energy that they're kind of liking and they're enjoying. So really kind of significant that it's a good month. You just need to be a little bit more controlled and a little more moderate in what you take on and where you go. Okay, Virgo, listen. I'm trying to communicate and I can't because Mercury's retrograde. Mercury is your ruler. And this kind of creates difficulty because a lot of it's happening in your fourth solar house, which is the home environment and where you belong. And it may be that you're going from one place to another or trying to fit in with somewhere and find it very difficult. On the 15th, Mercury goes direct, but also you've got Jupiter retrograde, and that's in your 10th house, which is the career or the ambitious side of your life. So you've got these kind of, the 4th and the 10th houses are really being instigated by these retrogrades, which means that you're sort of one step forward, two steps back syndrome, and trying to get the balance between home life and what you want to output into the world. So it's a little bit of it's a changeable month for you, Virgos. And, you know, you are a mutable sign, so changeability is not so much of a problem, but it kind of is in this month. I wouldn't be making any decisions that you're going to finalize in because you can't do that. But what I would be doing is making sure that you're in a position where you can be adaptable and be open to the things that you need to be open to. Librans, lovely. Venus from the 6th, 7th is in Aquarius, a fellow air sign like yourself. This is in your 5th solar house, the house of joy. Very, very nice. Really kind of nice energy that you're working with. Very Venusian, which you love. The social aspect here. And, you know, Librans are in this kind of position where, you know, the sun is also shining in your 3rd house, the house of communication. So you're able to communicate effectively, get things done. It's about bringing people together. It's about uniting people. It's about the whole diplomacy aspect that Librans really, really love. And that Venus just gives a real kind of spark here to things and means you can actually relax. Librans having a quieter month than actually a lot of the zodiac signs, which means they can do what they have a certain amount of control of what they can do and when they can do it. Enjoy. Scorpios. Okay, Scorpios, your ruler, traditional ruler is Mars. Your mod ruler is Pluto. Pluto is moving forward in Aquarius, which is in your 4th house. Mars is moving forward. It's not moving forward. It's going retrograde in Leo. And Leo rules your 10th house. And Mars is retrograde in that house. And the 10th house is all about the career aspects. So for you Sun in Scorpios and Scorpio rising signs, this is about reclaiming aspects of your past to do with your working relationships and your vision of where you are going in your career. It's tricky because Mars can be a little bit unpredictable, but at the same time, it gives you an ability to get reserves of energy for hard work. The thing is, it's in opposition to Pluto, which means it's trying to get a balance between your home life and your career during this month, which means that you are extremely busy during this particular period. And that's going to be the trick of trying to get the balance between the two energies. It's hard, it's difficult. You can do it, but you have loads of energy. So this is good for like health regimes, getting things started, being the host, achieving a lot in a very, very short space of time. But it's to also make sure that you're not becoming too dominant with that energy, that you're listening to other people and you're not going on a defensive, particularly if you feel that people are not keeping up with you. They may be slow, but they haven't got the power of the Pluto and the Mars with them. Remember that. Okay, Sagittarius, right. Sagittarius sun sign, Sagittarius rising. Okay, Jupiter, your ruler, is retrograde in your 7th solar house, slowing things down a bit. And plus, you've got Mercury retrograde in your own sign of the zodiac, which is also slowing things down. And it's the Sagittarius party season. And Sagittarians are going, yeah, let's all enjoy. But they can't because things just seem a little bit slow, a little bit stodgy. And I find that a little bit tricky because Sagittarius likes things to be moving forward and have that vision and where they're going. And they feel like they can't do it. From the 15th, Mercury begins to move forward in your own zodiac sign. So maybe that's the time that things, begin to kind of move in the way that you would like it to. But it is in opposition with Jupiter. This is about, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there. And people going, but you can't be in 2 places at once. And Sagittarius going, yeah, I can. Because Sagittarius is always the optimist, and they can't. And then realizing they can't. And they can't do as many projects as they would like, and they can't connect with as many people as they would like, and therefore they feel a bit flat, and therefore they go a bit, oh, wow, that's not such a great month. Listen, it can be. If you do everything in moderation, if you plan effectively, then it can be. But if you take too much on, you're going to find yourself in a little bit of a tiz. So try to just plan. I know Sagittarius don't like to necessarily do that, but they're going to have to if they want to get the best out of it, because the planets at the moment are a bit slow, and they're not striking out and going forth and conquering. They're being a little bit sort of annoying to you, but it doesn't mean you can't have fun. You just got to plan a lot more. Okay, Capricorn sun, Capricorn rising. You've got the new moon on the 30th, so that's right at the end in your own zodiac sign. So that's quite nice. You've got Venus in your 2nd solar house, which is the financial house. So you can start to really kind of enjoy the financial or put things in place to do with finances or accumulate or buy stuff, which is quite good at December, isn't it? The Mars retrograde is interesting for you because it's in the 8th solar house, which is the house, I call it the 8th solar house, like the house of the therapeutic aspects of life, but also the skeletons in the closet as well. The house of other people's money, but also investment. Investment talks about money, but also about other people's investment in you, like energetically, whether people believe in you and stuff like that. So the Mars retrograde, and don't forget, in the natural zodiac, Mars is the ruler of the 8th house. But so it's about resources and what resources you have, and whether you give those resources to whether you invest in other people or people invest in you. And I think that's where you're looking at for this month. It's a really, really strong month for you, actually. And I feel like the end of that new moon on the 30th really gives you a kind of boost going into the new year. But you've got a lot going on in the 12th house. You've got Mercury retrograde in the first half of the month, which kind of can put confusion on the intuition, the subconscious. And also, it's known in modern astrology as the house of self-undoing, which basically means that sometimes you be your worst own enemy. So just be careful in your communication skills during this month. Don't rock the boat. Don't assume others are off with you because of you. It will be other aspects that will come in. You don't need to mention that or talk about that too much. Okay, Aquarius, busy month for Aquarians. First of all, on 6th and 7th, you've got Venus going into your own zodiac sign, which will help. You've got the Mars retrograde, though, in your 7th house. This is for Aquarius suns, Aquarius rising. That's the relationship, the partnership house, the house of other people. So the disruption, the unpredictableness, the assertiveness or slightly aggressive attitude comes in from other people for you, and it's trying to get balance for that. Aquarians generally they try to rise above people's emotions like aggression or when people are angry. You might be getting a lot of that anger towards you. I would advise that you try and step away from it, but don't sort of shy away from it, is what I'm trying to say. Because the more you do that, the more anger you're going to get from other people, and this is going to be opposing Venus. So it's kind of like a little bit duality of enjoying other people's company, but other people projecting onto you their anger. So you'll want to connect with others, but you'll get this projection that comes in that's going to be a little bit confusing for you. So just be aware of that, I feel. That Mars naturally rules the 10th house as well for you. So for a lot of you, career choices might have to be put on hold, or decisions about career this month, just to make things a little bit sort of easier for you, because people are going to have a lot of opinions during December about you. And you might not agree with them, but they're going to have opinions and they'll want you to listen. And you're probably going to have to listen to some way, but you don't have to respond or decide on those opinions as to the direction of your future. Okay, Pisces. All right, Pisces. This is kind of interesting. Jupiter is retrograde in your 4th house, which is the house of the home. I'm not too concerned about that. But the career for the first half is a little bit confusing because Mercury is retrograde in your 10th house, and therefore you can't decide upon career choices. It moves forward on the 15th, which means that things can kind of start to get moving. But really, it's a bit of a funny month. There's too much going on here, too much mutable energy around for you. You've got Neptune moving forward at the beginning of the month, which is good for Pisces, because they'll start to see things a bit more clearly. But you don't need to make decisions during this particular period. The Mars retrograde that's happening now, that's kind of interesting because that comes into your 6th house, which is the house of the health and service to others. So health regimes become important, or suddenly putting a lot of energy into your health, your diet, what you eat, exercise, looking at your reserves of energy, looking at your energy levels, looking at whether you give too much to other people and whether you need to give more of yourself to yourself. But it's a funny month for Pisces. In a way, they could drift through this month, and they'll kind of like that, without making decisions, making commitments. And they'll kind of like that. That won't be an issue. But I do think their immediate working environments, their immediate health, how to look after themselves is going to be really kind of important. And they'll take a look at that and try to put a better structure on their daily lives. And I think with that Mars retrograde, that's what you've got to look at particularly. And they'll feel it. They'll start to really kind of feel it from the 6th that they'll want to do that, which to a lot of people might go, and hang on, Pisces, what are you doing? Structuring your daily. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this list. I'm going to do it this way at this time. But there's so much mutable energy for them that they might change their minds quite a lot. But that's okay during December. You don't need to be kind of too firm with December. Okay, so that's it. 12 signs of the zodiac from your sun side to your rising side. Please like the video, become a subscriber. It really kind of helps. And thank you very much for watching. And I'll speak to you all very, very soon. And have a happy Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Thank you. Bye-bye.